Let me blow your mind for a second. Right now, there are regular people making more money while they sleep than most people make working 40 hours a week. And they're not billionaires or tech geniuses. They're normal people who crossed 3 specific net worth milestones. Most people think money grows in a straight line. You save $10,000 and now you're $10,000 richer. But that's not how wealth works. That's one of the biggest reasons almost 78% of Americans still live paycheck to paycheck. They're working hard, but the system they're following is wrong. In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 net worth milestones that completely change your financial life. By the end, you'll understand the exact moment your money starts working harder than you do, and why the first milestone is actually the hardest one, not the last. All right, let's get into the first milestone. And honestly, this is the one that changes everything. Most people never reach it, but the ones who do start seeing money in a completely different way. Let's talk about the first milestone. And honestly, this is the one that almost everyone struggles with. But once you hit it, everything starts to feel different. A lot of people don't know this, but Charlie Munger, one of the smartest investors ever, used to say that the hardest part of building wealth is earning your first $100,000 when you're starting from nothing. And if you've ever tried saving or investing, you already know exactly what he meant. In the beginning, it feels like no matter how hard you try, your money just doesn't grow. But here's why 100K is such a big deal. Once your investments hit around that number, the growth becomes real. Even at normal returns, around 7 to 10%, your money can grow by $7,000 to $10,000 a year without you doing anything. That's not pocket change. That's your groceries for the year. That's your utilities. That's a car payment. It's the first time you feel like your money is actually helping you instead of just sitting there. And to show you how this happens, let me break down the timeline in the simplest way possible. Imagine you invest $500 a month. In your first year, you end up with about $6,200, and only $200 of that is actual growth. It's tiny. It feels like nothing is happening. Fast forward to year 3, you're at around $19,700, but still, most of it is money you put in. By year 5, you hit about $34,500. The growth is finally visible, but it's still not life-changing. And then, slowly, it starts to shift. Around year 7 and 9 months, something huge happens. You cross $100,000. And here's the crazy part. You would have contributed around $46,000 total, but your money would have grown by over $53,000. For the first time ever, the growth beats your contributions. This is the exact moment your investment returns start working just as hard as you are. It's almost like spending years pushing a heavy snowball up a hill, and then suddenly you reach the top. It starts rolling on its own. That's what 100K feels like. Because from here on, your 100K starts earning income like a part-time job. At a 10% return, it can make you over $10,000 a year while you're literally doing nothing. And when you see that for the first time, your whole mindset changes. You finally realize, okay, I'm not wasting my time. This actually works. Now, let me quickly tell you how to get to 100K faster, because waiting almost 8 years feels long. First, whenever you get a raise, try using something I call the 50-50 rule. Keep half for yourself, invest the other half. Your lifestyle improves a bit, but your investing speed doubles. Second, use any one-time money wisely. A tax refund, a bonus, even a random $5,000 will shave months off your journey. And third, if you can, build a small side hustle and dedicate that money only to investing. Even an extra $200 a month cuts your timeline down by about 1.5 years. In fact, if you increase your investing from $500 a month to $700 a month, you go from hitting 100K in almost 8 years to just about 5.5 years. This is why the first milestone feels slow, painfully slow. But once you cross it, the game changes. If you're enjoying the video, make sure to like the video. It really helps the channel. And if you want more videos like this, make sure to subscribe. Milestone 2, the $650,000 freedom point. Now we're entering the second milestone, the one I like to call the freedom point. And this is where things start getting really exciting. Because once you hit $650,000 in investments, your life starts looking completely different. Think about this. The median household income in the U.S. is around $83,700. That means most families are making just over $80K a year by working full-time. Now imagine if your investments alone could replace that income. With $650K invested at an 8% return, you're pulling in about $52,000 a year just from your money. At 9%, it's almost $59,000 a year. That's not side money. That's enough to cover a large portion of your living expenses. You're no longer dependent on your paycheck. You can breathe a little, plan a little, and maybe even dream a little bigger. What's wild is how quickly things start moving after the first 100K. Getting that first 100K took almost 8 years. But here's the thing. Once you've built the foundation, the timeline speeds up. From 200K to 400K, about 6 years. Going from 100K to 200K takes only about 5 more years. From 400K to 650K, roughly 5 more years. So in about 18 to 20 years of consistent investing at $500 a month, you go from 0 to 650K. The jump from 500K to 650K even feels faster than the jump from 0 to 100K. That's the power of compounding and momentum. Once your money starts working for you, it doesn't just sit there, it pulls more money behind it. What this money actually buys you. Let's talk about what 650K actually does for your life. First, it buys financial security. Lose your job? You've got 1 to 2 years of expenses covered just from passive income. Want to take a sabbatical or a break? You can. Got a medical emergency or unexpected bills? You're covered. That feeling of constantly worrying about money starts to fade. Second, it gives you career freedom. You can finally make choices based on what matters to you, not just what pays the bills. Take a pay cut to do something meaningful? Start a business without panicking about rent? Walk away from a toxic work environment without fear. That's the real power here. Imagine your boss piling on impossible deadlines. With $50K a year in passive income, you can literally say, "No thanks," and not feel trapped. Here's where compounding really starts to look magical. At 650K, your money is generating about $4,300 a month on its own. That's more than most people pay for rent or a mortgage. If you keep investing your usual $500 a month, that's now just the cherry on top, because the bulk of your wealth is growing automatically. Your portfolio could now grow by almost $4,800 a month, or about $57,600 a year just from compounding. Every year, your money is making more money, and your contributions start to feel almost like bonus fuel rather than the main engine. The inflation safety net, another huge benefit, inflation protection. If you withdraw around 6 to 7% per year, but your investments keep earning 8 to 10%, your portfolio is still growing even while you're living off it. Your purchasing power can actually increase, not shrink. And if you add Social Security on top, the average monthly benefit is around $2,000, you're looking at roughly $76,000 a year without working. That's a lifestyle many people think they can only get after decades of hard work, but it's achievable if you cross this milestone. The takeaway here is simple. 650K is where money stops being just numbers in your account. It becomes freedom. Freedom to make choices, to take risks, and to live life on your terms. This is the milestone that changes not just your finances, but how you feel every single day about your work, your life, and your future. Milestone 3, the $1 million psychological breakthrough. Now we're at the final milestone, the one that hits differently than anything before. Hitting $1 million isn't just about the money, it's about your mindset. It's proof that a regular person investing consistently over time can actually build serious wealth. You're not a billionaire yet, but you're financially secure in a way that most people never experience. And that security, it's worth more than most realize. Let's break down the timeline. If you've been investing $500 a month consistently, you'd hit $1 million around year 29. That's decades of discipline. But here's the thing, you've already built the foundation and momentum. And by this point, your investments alone could generate $70,000 to $100,000 a year at normal market returns of 7 to 10%. That's enough to replace a good household income without touching your principal. Once you reach 1 million, the math starts to get absurd in a good way. To go from 1 million to 1.5 million, you only need a 50% growth. Historically, that can happen in 3 to 4 years. From 1.5 million to 2 million, just a 33% growth is needed, which usually takes 2 to 3 years. The bigger your portfolio gets, the faster each subsequent million comes if you stay disciplined. And here's a reality check. The S&P 500's historical average return over the last 20 years is about 11% per year. That means your 1 million could become 1.11 million in just 1 year, more than the median household income from growth alone. That's the power of compounding at this level. Now, once people hit $1 million, they generally take one of two paths. Path A, coast. Some people get comfortable. They slow down contributions, maybe enjoy life more, and let their money work on autopilot. That's fine, and they'll still likely become multimillionaires eventually, but it takes longer. Path B, accelerate. Others stay disciplined. They keep investing and adding to their portfolio. With this path, hitting 2 million can take just 7 to 10 years, and 3 million another 5 to 7 years. This is where you start entering generational wealth territory. Discipline here multiplies your freedom and options even more. But here's where many people mess up. First, lifestyle inflation. Upgrading everything the moment you hit $1 million. Suddenly, your expenses rise and the snowball slows down. Second, pulling money out too early. And third, getting scared during market downturns. The truth is, markets fall sometimes. The biggest down year for stocks since 1928 was minus 47% in 1931. But historically, the market always recovers. If you panic and sell, you lock in losses. If you keep investing, you're buying the dip and your wealth keeps growing. Reaching $1 million is not just a financial milestone, it's a psychological breakthrough. You now know for yourself that discipline pays off, that you can create security, freedom, and opportunity through consistent effort. And once you understand that, the path to even bigger wealth suddenly feels within reach.